Okay, this is, I'm kind of back. This is the first video that I've done for a while, mainly because sometimes it's a good idea to step back and stop doing what you're doing and reorganize. And I did that a couple of months ago, but it took an awful lot longer to get organized, to get back into sync, let's say, than I thought. But I seem to be back now, and I've got a whole list of things that I can do and that I want to do, and I think are worth doing. So I should be able to post more and post more regularly. And so this will be on YouTube as well as at the learn.dynamic-tarot.com, which is the membership site where you can join and get videos and information that I don't include or that I don't put on YouTube. Not that I'm trying to keep it secret, but it's just, on YouTube you've got certain limitations and in time and so on. And the other site, the membership site, is quite useful for posting maybe more specialized information, because this YouTube can be for a general reader who's looking for some introductory information. The Dynamic Tarot site is more for, or the idea is that it's for people who've already got an interest and want to go more deeply rather than just want to find out what it's all about. So this return video is not so much about the tarot in itself, but it's kind of about dream interpretation, lists, list making, and achieving success and getting what it is that you want, as well as something about Thomas Troward. So let me explain a little bit what I'm going to do. And the thing is, a few days ago, I woke and I remembered a dream that I'd had, or I'd just been having that night. And some people, when it comes to dream interpretation, some people recommend that you keep a notebook by your bedside. So when you wake at 2 in the morning and there's a dream in your mind, you write it down immediately so you don't forget. So you can find you wake up half a dozen times during the night and you've got all these dreams written down. This, though, is probably interfering with the learning, let's say, that can be happening with dreams. So there's a difference, though. Instead of writing everything down, if you remember the dream later in the day, once you've been awake and talked to people and done what you've done and maybe gone to work, if you can still remember the details of the dream, then that is a dream that's worth thinking about, right? Whereas if you wake at 2 in the morning and immediately try to make sense of the dream, it's sort of too much, too soon. But if you can remember, if the dream stays with you in spite of the fact that your thoughts have been in other places during the day, that's an important dream. So anyway, I had this dream, and I was in Glasgow, although I'm not now. I'm just outside Toronto at the moment, and I was asleep outside Toronto. So in the dream, I was in Glasgow talking to somebody in Norwich. I was calling a friend there, and then after we made the connection, my friend said she was sad because her aunt was sick. And I remember in the dream saying to her, and this is what I remembered later in the day, and I said, that's okay, we can put her, the aunt, we can put her at the top of the list. So this statement of mine from the dream stayed with me throughout the day. So later that afternoon, I was thinking about the dream and wondering about lists and list making and prioritizing, because I thought, where is the aunt right now on the list? And if we put her to the top as number one priority, what happens to the list item that's already at the top? Does it become demoted? How do we deal with that? So that's what I was wondering. But at the same time, I've been going through at the moment the Edinburgh lectures by Thomas Troward, because I've got this idea to summarize all the Thomas Troward writing and put it into a PDF so that I can help people understand Troward, because it's easier to understand if you can jump back and forth among the different writings that he's got. Anyway, I'll get to that. So One thing that Thomas Troward points out is that our freedom, he says, our freedom lies in the power of our thought. Okay, so remember Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator movies. Come with me if you want to live. Okay, so if you've seen the Terminator movies, especially 1 and 2, you know that Terminators don't stop, right? They don't give up until they've achieved their goal or achieved their objective, right? So that's why in the first and the second one, the Terminator just would not be beaten. They just kept going, and so it got more and more difficult to defeat them. And the connection with the Terminator movies and Thomas Troward is we might like to think of each thought that we have as a Terminator. It's not going to stop until it does what it set out to do or what it was told to do, or until some opposite thought kills it. That's the strength of each individual thought is a Terminator. So you might think, okay, I'd like to write a book, right? That's thought, I'd like to write a book, or think about your own desires and whatever it is that you want to do. And each idea, each thought is a Terminator. So you think, okay, I'd like to write a book. Then you think, oh, who am I kidding? I could never write a book. So you've got that's your first thought. I'm going to write a book. Then you've got, who am I kidding? And so you've got a battle taking place in your head and out in the cosmos because we send our thoughts out. So that second thought can seriously wound or kill off the first good thought that you had about writing the book. So our thoughts, if they contradict each other, can set up battles within our own head. And we can get worn out and become despondent and think we're never going to make do. We're never going to be able to do what it is that we want to do because we've got so many negative thoughts or contradictory thoughts that we're sending out. So if you can see the idea of thoughts being creatively powerful, then maybe the first thing we do is we stop thinking, right? It doesn't mean we stop existing, but if we have this thought, I'd like to write a book, and leave it at that, and not bother thinking I can't or I shouldn't or who would buy the book or who would even read the book, and sending all that negativity, Terminator thoughts, to beat up and kill off the first good thought that we had. So if we can stop thinking, we can allow calmness and peace in our own mind. So we have a pleasant state. We help create a pleasant state where our considered ideas and opinions can flourish. Our considered ideas because if you want to write a book or whatever it is, what we do is we take our ideas seriously. We figure out, do I really want to write a book? Yes, it's a good idea. I do want to do it. Then we use our willpower to keep the idea safe and keep our thoughts on track. And we don't let negativity and pointlessness overwhelm our decent idea. Okay, that's to do with lists. Okay, so back at the dream, if you remember the dream, I was thinking about lists and prioritizing. So if we've got a list with a lot of different points on it, you can look at your list and they might conflict. There might be conflicting items or they might oppose each other. So we're creating a battlefield, even if we don't realize it at the time. So we're going to move the ant to the top of the list. What happens to the other items in the list? And I thought, what we have to do is we have multiple lists, but each list has only one item on it. Instead of having one or two lists with a lot of different points that we may or may not ever get to, but yet we've put the thought out there and it wants to live and it wants to fulfill its purpose that we've given it. If we've got a long list, we can't do it all at the same time. So what I'm thinking is what we do is you create multiple lists, and each list has only one item and it's the top priority. So instead of looking at your to-do list for the day and going through all of it and trying to figure out what to do first, you shuffle through your lists and do the one item on the list. And then if you haven't finished it, you keep it and you do it again. Or if you finished it, you check it off and you put it to the side. Because the list that you create, or the lists that you create, are something that you want and you've thought about and you've decided it's worth going for, or it's desirable in some way that you want and that you're going to value. So your thought about your desired outcome has the power of a Terminator, and it doesn't let up until the goal has been reached. That's kind of it. For what I wanted to get back into this, and so that was my first starting point. So the next video is going to, okay, people comment and leave comments on YouTube videos, and I sometimes reply, but sometimes I don't. And I'm good at starting stuff. I'm not kind of so good at following up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one video, and I think it's going to be the one about the yes/no spreads, because somebody asked, what do you do if you say the answer is yes, but it turns out to be no? So I think there are other comments that people have left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through these videos that I've made and deal with the comments and the questions and related information and make it a separate follow-up video for the original video. So that's my plan for a few videos for YouTube, where I look at what's been said and deal with the objections or comments or questions or related points that people have made through the comments. And that's what I'm going to do next. So I've got various other projects in the works, but I'll tell you about them next time rather than do it just now. So in the meantime, that's it for the moment. Thanks for watching. If you have comments, put them down below, and I'll see you again in a few days. Today, forgot to mention this, today's the 2nd of May. It's a Monday, so I'm thinking next weekend I'll make something. So maybe look for it on Sunday, which would be the 8th of May. Okay, 2016. Must get the year right. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.